And good evening. Welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. It's great to be here this evening for another edition of Monday Nights. Everybody's Monday night favorite show is always here on Monday night at 7 p.m., and that is The Way I See It. And I am Ralph Williams, Pittsburgh's forgotten son. In case you don't know, once again it's happened. It's happened to me again. That's why I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Okay, and I'll explain that coming up later on as to, once again, why I call myself Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Because everybody, out there on the street, everybody, they email me or they call me and they go, Ralph, why do you call yourself Pittsburgh's forgotten son? Well, I've said this many times in the past, and I'm going to reiterate one more time, okay? That's because I'm getting sick and tired of the media in this town and these state radio stations and TV stations not treating me with the respect that I deserve. And why do I deserve this respect? Because I'm a media person just like everybody else, all right? So they want to come out here and they want to disrespect me and they want to play games and they want to, horse around. Well, this week, I got disrespected yet again, all right? And to be frankly honest with you, I don't even care if this happens to me because at this point I'm getting more and more frustrated every time. And maybe it's because this is the third time in a week and then the third time in 3 weeks that I've gotten screwed over, stabbed in the back by somebody whom you wouldn't expect that to happen. But it did. 3 times in 3 weeks. And I'll explain that later on in my life story. All right, now we're going to start off with our blast section here tonight on our segment, here on The Way I See It. We have a lot to talk about tonight, including the upcoming election tomorrow night. That it seems like that's all that's to talk around here. There are other topics that we need to talk about. I'm blasting several people tonight. We're going to start off with the 2 city officers and officials with the city police who were supposed to work that funeral and did not. Why would you not show up for that funeral? Why? Okay? You were supposed to be there, and maybe by you being there, okay? Maybe by you being there, things that did happen would not have happened. All right? And that's the point that I agree with Tom Stangricki. All right, who is the acting police chief right now. And later on, we're going to talk about the city police chief. Who do you want as a city police chief? We'll talk about that later. But I'm blasting these 2 officers who decided not to show up for this. My friend, George Moses, who's a trustee for that church, almost got killed because you didn't show up for work. Okay? You didn't bother to show up. And you didn't bother to bring reinforcements, or you didn't bother to do what you needed to do. Not only was it, maybe it wasn't your fault. Maybe it was something to do with County 911. Maybe it had to do with the police department, the other police administration. Somebody dropped the ball here, and that's why I'm blasting Pittsburgh City Police and especially the 2 officers who didn't show up that they were supposed to be there for security. And then maybe things that would not have happened. These things and events and whatnot would not have happened if you would have shown up for work. And that tonight is the way I see it. Next, St. Clair Hospital's medical staff, the way they talk to people. St. Clair Hospital, I understand, and I understand everybody in the medical field, UPMC, AGH, and now St. Clair Hospital. Okay? Later on, I'm going to talk to you about my life story, about my experience or my family, my wife more or less, and my mother's experience with St. Clair Hospital last week. Okay? All right? So what happened was your staff decided to get ignorant all up and down the board here. And I'm going to tell you how up and down the board they got so damn ignorant. Okay? They got ignorant with my wife during surgery. They got ignorant with my wife taking her to our vehicle. Okay, I couldn't go into the facility because I wasn't paying $8,000 to park my vehicle. So I decided to stay out in the vehicle. My mom went in with my wife, and they treated us ignorantly throughout the board. Okay? Something is wrong here, St. Clair Hospital, and you better get with it, because I'm going to tell you something. I've said this once, I'll say it again. You never know when I'm going to show up somewhere. You never know where I'm going to be at. And you never know what kind of talk show I do around in this burg and around the country. And that is the way I see it, St. Clair Hospital. Next, the people who are not paying their turnpike tolls. You know, you're so stupid, and I should put you in a bonehead thing, but I'm going to blast you too. And I'll tell you why. Why would you defunk on paying your turnpike tolls? Because that's the way people are nowadays. Nobody cares about anything. And then, you know, I blame the state for this partially because they should have never got rid of the people in the booth. But you know what? There's a positive to that. I enjoy when I go to the turnpike just going straight through and not have to pay anything. And then you send me the bill and I pay it. Okay? But here we are, we got hundreds and thousands of people who just decided, you know what, I don't think I'm going to pay that bill. Why? Because the turnpike keeps raising prices. But that doesn't give you the obligation not to pay your bill, everybody. So you go ahead and you just say, forget it. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm going to try to be a thief. Well, guess what? It's up. Time's up. Why? Because the dictator, on his way out this year, he's done. Dictator Wolf, okay? He's done. The end of the year. But I will tell you, on his way out, he has done some good things. And now he's come up with a legislation that you have to pay. And guess what? If you don't, they're going to take your car registration. So go ahead. Don't pay your turnpike tolls. That is the way I see it tonight. Next, the Center Township officer who pushed a guy and made him die. You didn't hear about this? There was a shooting at the Walmart in Center Township. Some guy tried to come out and help. This officer from Center Township, that's who he was from, okay? And this is a prime example of why police officers and you got some of these politicians out there who I still haven't gotten an answer from, everybody, about the fact that they want to defund the police. And this is one of the reasons why. But guess what? Center Township Police is being sued for this. And so is the officer. Because what did he do? He pushed the guy on the ground and made him hit his head, and he died. And now he's suing you. That's why I'm blasting you tonight, Center Township Police. Whoever you are, shame on you for pushing that guy. He was trying to help out. He pushed a person out of the way to get them further injury, and you go and push him to the ground when he was trying to help you. And you pushed him to the ground. Why? But guess what? You're getting sued. You got a lawyer. He's not only suing the police department, he's suing the officer. Okay? That is the way I see it tonight. Next, Elon Musk. You know, Elon Musk, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm blasting you tonight because you buy Twitter and then you lay off all these people. And now you want people to pay to get on Twitter after you lay off all these employees. And now you got egg on your face because all these employees that you laid off, now you have to probably pay unemployment. And then on top of all that, okay, these employees are going to go work for somebody else. And Twitter isn't going to have anybody. And now Twitter doesn't have enough employees to handle what they're doing, what's going on. And now Elon Musk wants to make us into some kind of a silly thing about Twitter. He's trying to change everything about it. Okay? So here we are, Elon Musk. And that is the way I see it tonight about him. Next, Argo Company. Shame on you, Argo. You came into Pittsburgh, you created 800 jobs, and then you go and you lay these people off. And then you say, well, we ain't autonomous cars anymore. When you pushed for stuff, we gave you what you needed in tax breaks and everything else, just like we do every other kind of business, and you go and you stick it to us. You stuck it to the people of the city of Pittsburgh, the people who worked for Arco the self-driving cars. You laid off 800 people. Shame on you, Arco. And that is the way I see it. Next, the thieves who stole Christmas decorations from a home in Crafton Heights, and are doing it all over Crafton Heights. You know what? It's getting so bad out there, everybody, that we have people, morons like this, who go out and decide they're going to steal off of some woman's house. Well, guess what? This woman tonight isn't putting up with you anymore. They're not going to put up with what you're doing. She's going out and getting a camera after Christmas, so next time you want to try to come up on her porch and steal something, you're going to be in trouble. Okay? And I hope you get caught, and I hope you go to jail stealing people's Christmas decorations. You know, that's really sad. You ought to really be ashamed of yourself. But this is the desperation of people in our country. They would rather steal from somebody than go to work. And that's the way I see it. That's our blast segment tonight, brought to you by DJ Fun, 412-545-4317. Call DJ Fun today. Call DJ Fun. Why? Because DJ Fun is a lawyer. I'm sorry. I had lawyer on my brain because of that blast. Sorry. Is a DJ who will DJ your party, wedding, and special event at a reasonable price. DJ Fun will not take you to the cleaners. DJ Fun will give you a reasonable price, and will work with you on price if you have a budget. So call him today, 412-545-4317. You better call fast, because DJ Fun right now has a special offer for you. He will give you 2022 rates if you book for 2023. You have time till the end of the year. You have almost, 60 days, a little less than 60 days. So you better pick up the phone now before it's too late. 412-545-4317. Call DJ Fun today, don't delay. Next, we're going to go to our Bonehead segment, which is brought to you by Robin Campbell Insurance, 412-366-3399. Call Robin Campbell today. He has all types of insurance. Robin Campbell is a dealer through Farmers Insurance. He will get you any kind of insurance that you want for your car, home, life, auto, any kind of insurance. Renter's insurance, very important. If you rent any kind of property, if you rent anything, to get the insurance, I'll tell you what, it's about 50 cents a day, not even that, okay? You can get renter's insurance, and it's very, very economical, and I suggest you get it. And I know what you're saying to me. You're saying, Ralph, I don't have that kind of money right now. Well, guess what? What happens if there's a fire in your building? Oh, well, I think my landlord will cover it. No, don't believe anything that your landlord tells you. Go out today and call Robin, 412-366-3399. If you can't come to him, he'll come to you. Call him today for insurance. The Bonehead moves for tonight are as follows. You ready? The prison guard in Center County who was busted for smuggling drugs for an inmate. Oh, my. Wow. And then here's our next boneheaded move. Another person, it was a woman, who tried this weekend to sneak another gun into the airport. Another boneheaded move. You know, it's really sad that you're in this kind of position here, you know. Next, Art Schleister. You know, those of you who don't know who Art Schleister is, he's been a bonehead forever. He gambled. He got busted by the NFL. He got kicked out of the NFL, okay? And he got kicked out of college football. Then he was playing for arena football for a little while. Now he got caught yet again, this time with cocaine. Art Schleister, a bonehead move of the night, another one of the night, and that is the way I see it tonight about our boneheaded move. Okay, next. We're going to get into our life story tonight. And lately, the last 3 weeks, well, it's been kind of tough. I've been arguing with people, running into some backstabbing moves, doing some different, having some issues with some people, and I took care of some certain person. They stabbed me in the back 2 weeks ago. I think I pretty much explained it to you, but I wasn't going to go into any further detail about that. Then last week I get screwed over again by somebody else. Then I fight and argue with somebody over something else last week. But the two things that happened last week in my life story was Tuesday, my wife had surgery, and I blasted St. Clair Hospital for what they're doing. Uh, they had a bad attitude, and the staff there was very ignorant, and I really didn't appreciate that because my wife was there for surgery, and you're supposed to make people feel comfortable when they're having surgery. Now, what had happened was my wife had was supposed to get a certain kind of surgery done, and they had to move it to another. A different type of surgery, okay, at the last minute. And apparently the nurses and this hospital staff were angry and mad because they had to switch the paperwork around. It was an inconvenience, okay? Now, I understand, and I've said this on many of my shows, that the medical field these days is horrible. You have people who are sleeping in hospitals because they don't have enough medical staff. And I know this for a fact because I spoke to a nurse who told me she was sleeping at a hospital and couldn't go home to her family for hours. Hours. Okay? We have issues with doctors putting in too much time, nurses really putting in time. You can't find medical assistants. You can't, doctors' offices are having shortages of employees. It's a major problem in this whole country. Why do you think I have spent a lot of time on this program in different weeks? Every week I come up with something different about either somebody having a shortage or laziness, or last week I pointed out to everybody about Rite Aid. Rite Aid, I explained this last week, their managers are lazy. They're closing up stores early. Like we're talking 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and leaving people out on the street. People have to go get their medication and things like that. They can't go there. All right. But I'm going to tell you another story tonight about another company who, because of laziness and shortages of workers, and I'm going to give you a statistic tonight because every week I'm going to come up with a different part or some sort of different segment in regards to the laziness and what's going on. Last week was pretty interesting because I brought up about how the employers, and I apologize. I apologize to those of you out there who have gotten screwed by these employers. All right? Because I thought it was all the DX boxers, the ones who really don't want to work, and I don't know where this society has gone to where we feel we're entitled now and nobody wants to work anymore. Well, I came up with a bunch of facts that are true. And this week I've got some more, and I'll tell you about them later. But this is another example of somebody's health being affected by the shortage of medical people. Whether it's nurses aides, the person who does whatever, I don't know, okay? Whatever's involved in the medical field, they're having issues, okay? If I were you, see, I go by this what they call urgent care place on Baum Boulevard on my way to church every Sunday. And when I go by that place, or I go that place to go out that way, I always say, why are these urgent care places so busy? But AGH has these new hospitals and nobody goes to them, but they go to urgent cares. You know why? Because urgent cares have staff. Hospitals don't have staff. Hospitals are making people wait. Children's Hospital made somebody wait 9 hours. 9 hours. Okay? In the ER. Because they don't have enough staff. All right? This is becoming a serious problem. We don't have people with teachers either. So this is another reason why I was frustrated with St. Clair Hospital. You would think a smaller type hospital like that might be able to cover themselves. I mean, UPMC, they've got thousands and thousands of hospitals. AGH, West Penn, they have, a half a dozen, or 10 dozen hospitals as well, or whatever they have, I don't know. Okay? And they got all these little mini hospitals or set up hospitals all across the area. I never see anybody in them. or 100 cars parked out front. But when I go by the urgent cares, you can't get in the place, especially the one, I'm not going to mention the name of it, on Baum Boulevard. I go by there every Sunday and there's 1,000 people sitting in there. Sometimes there's a line out the door, you can't even get in. Why? Because 9 hours at the ER, I'd go there too. They're moving people faster, maybe. I don't know. Maybe the rate's cheaper. You have to pay cash, credit card, or whatever. When I would go to Concentra over there in the West End and wherever their other locations are nowadays, I don't know if they still have one over in Fox Chapel or if they have that one that's over there or in O'Hara or along Freeport Road, and they have another location. I believe they had one out on Campbell's Run Road, but I'm not sure if that's even still there. Okay? They went to urgent care. Every time you work a job and they need you to go take a drug test, well, I used to know someone that used to call it a pee-pee test, okay? They would send you to Concentra. Well, Concentra now is urgent care as well. They don't just do physicals and pee-pee tests and all that other stuff. They do that too. All right? All right, next, in my life story this week, Thursday I had my TV shows. The version of this show, The Way I See It, TV version, you can catch it on PCTV, Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable. And also, I want to welcome you to do something. As the director, John Patterson, says, put your heart and pride and mind into your TV show. Well, if you want to do something like that, call PCTV today and set up an appointment to go in for training to become a community producer. And you can put your own little TV show on PCTV. 412-322-7570. Call today. I have 2 shows on there, and I'm about to have probably a third one, but the way things are going right now, that may not happen. There's some dispute going on with PCTV. Watch my show, archive show on YouTube, on my YouTube channel called Ralph Williams One-on-One. That's one of my new shows. The only time I do that is when I'm interviewing somebody one-on-one and I can't get them here on Monday nights. Okay? My first show's big hit. I interviewed Carl Samisi, who is an executive, works for PCTV, Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable. Community television right now, everybody, just like everything else, is about to go down the toilet. Okay? About to go down the toilet. And I'll explain why. Because the cable companies now are losing subscriptions. People are not getting cable anymore. They're using streaming services. You got free TV out there, like Pluto. I don't need cable. Technically, I could sit and watch Pluto on my tablet and just have a digital box and use it for whatever. They're getting into Roku. They're getting into Apple TV. They're getting into Amazon Fire Stick. Okay? You can watch PCTV on there too. But get this. Nobody pays PCTV to be there. They don't, because of a federal law. Now, if you want to see community television stay put, then what you need to do is talk to your congressman or woman or whoever. Okay? And ask them if they can go to the federal government and get some of this stuff changed. Start making some of these internet companies and streaming services pay up for community television. Because community television is very important. Okay? It not only helps you become a talent, but it also helps to see community people being able to present their talents. As you know, and that's one of the reasons why I'm the forgotten son, is because the local networks around here don't want to talk to me about putting my programs on their network. Not even on their side networks. Okay? Radio stations don't want to talk to me either about putting my show on. The way I see it. That's why I have a TV show there. Because I have nowhere else to go. But it's great because I get to present my talent there. PCTV appreciates me. All right. That's why I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Okay. Now I'm hearing stories that not only do you have to deal with the corporate rhetoric to get a job or to put a show on one of them stations because it's all about corporate money now. They still have the old boys gang. I actually thought the boys gang went bye-byes when the corporates took over, but no. I come to find out from a buddy of mine last week who was in media as well. His name I'm not going to mention on this show. Okay? Who told me that, yeah, it's still that way. We still have the old boys gang in Pittsburgh for the media. Okay? And the old boys gang doesn't want Ralph Williams. The old boys gang is afraid Ralph Williams is going to take their job. The old boys gang, they don't want to respect me. The old boys gang, they want to brag about stuff. So let me tell you what they're bragging about now. My wife and I've been displaced now for the whole season by Pitt. Okay? I applied for media credentials. I applied way in advance, too. I put in the word. They email me. Been accepted. Great. I get this email. They can't give me anything. So I said, okay, fine. I'll take tickets in the stands. So they gave me tickets. I'm grateful. Seats are nice. Nice place to sit. But that's not what I want the media passes for. I want to network myself. I want people to say, hey, I'm here just like you. Okay? All the ones out there who don't return my emails, don't return my phone calls, don't want to be on my show, don't want me to interview them, yeah. They sit in the press box and eat for free. So I get these tickets, and that's fine. I didn't pay for them. But the Rhode Island Pitt game at Acrisure Stadium, I paid $75 for food and drink for my wife and I. $75. All right. Now, if I would have had to pay for tickets and parking, you're looking at a nut of about $200 or $300 or more. But I live on a T line, so I rode the T. Didn't I have to pay for parking? Didn't have to pay for the T, really. Okay. Got the tickets for free. Thank you, Pitt. Okay. But I did for you, Pitt, but you couldn't do for me. For one game, you couldn't do for me. Then the one game that you did want to do for me, I had other obligations. Thanks. I'm figuring Syracuse, they already had the homecoming. Senior day's coming up against Duke. Now, Syracuse, maybe this time I'll get my passes for the media. Oh, we don't have no room for you. You should have told us 5 days in advance. Well, wait a minute. I had already put my passes in for the season. Every week you've been emailing me asking me if I wanted seats. I told you the Virginia Tech game, I couldn't be there. Okay? I couldn't be there, and I couldn't be at the Georgia Tech game either. 2 games I couldn't be at because I had other obligations, okay? But the Rhode Island game, I'm on my way out of Acrisure Stadium, and this is an old story, but I'm telling you this because this is why I'm the forgotten son. And I want to remind everybody this, okay? And next time you go, I love Larry Richard, I love Bill Hillgrove, I love Doran Dickerson, and I love Pat Bostic. Okay, let me tell you what they did. Okay, in case you're not aware, and I know you know Bill Hillgrove from the Steeler broadcasts on DV Radio. I'm not going to go no further than that. But he also works for Pitt, has worked for Pitt since they won the national championship, and even before that. He's done Pitt football games and basketball games forever. He's a fossil. He's a legend. I had respect for him until the Rhode Island game. I actually saw him walking into the press area, in the press door, and I was waiting to get my passes to go into the media because I was not told that I had to sit in the stands again for another game. Now, I gave them West Virginia and I gave them Tennessee, which I understood because they were big games. But Rhode Island, it's like playing Rhode Island State Prison. And they gave me tickets yet again. And I saw Bill Hillgrove, and I said, Bill, how you doing? Ralph Williams. Yeah, how you doing, Ralph? Everything's, yeah. Until toward the end of the game. We leave in the fourth quarter because I don't want to get stuck on a T car with 8,000 people smashing into me because nobody cares. Okay, not paying attention, listening to what the operator has to say. Drunk as can be, causing problems. I don't have time for that. So I leave early. Proud of it, too. Okay? I can always watch the highlights on YouTube. So, Pitt, or the broadcasters, Larry Richards on the field, Doran Dickerson's on the field. Pat Bostic's in the broadcast booth with Bill Hillgrove. They all get on the air and go, They all get on there and they start laughing about, we're going to enjoy our free food. Thanks, guys. I just paid $75. $75. Maybe that's something you can afford, but it's something I can't afford. Okay? All right? And I'm sorry that I had to broadcast all this about what the media people get as perks. But I don't work for none of these people. I work for myself. And there's a reason for that. Because of them. I work for myself. I do this here myself. All right? So, they start bragging and laughing and giggling about how they get free food. So next time, I love Larry Richard. and you hear Larry Richard every time you turn around, and you laugh and giggle, and you think it's funny about Larry Richard. There's Larry Richard. A guy everybody respects, including myself, until now. Laughing and giggling because he's getting free food. When the average gate payer, including myself, had to pay $75 for food. Do you catch what I'm saying? Ralph doesn't get the benefits you get, Larry. All right? Doran Dickerson. Okay? Yeah, I twittered you this weekend. Ask Adam Crowley what happens when you mess with me or you get on my bad side. Ask Adam Crowley. Pat Bostic. Yeah, Pat Bostic's the hero. He won the 13-9 game. But Pat Bostic forgets about when he stuck Dave Wannstedt with no quarterback because he was having issues with a relationship with a woman. Now, I don't know if it's the woman he's married to now. But because of that, he couldn't play football. And when we needed him, the only time he was there was for the backyard brawl. One game. Pat, don't you sit there and laugh like that because it's not funny at all. And Bill Hillgrove, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's why I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. That's why I get on these people. But see, you as a gate ticket holder who pays for season tickets should understand where I'm coming from here. Okay? That's why I don't go to games that I have to pay for. It's too much money. You have to take out a loan. And sometimes the food quality isn't all that great. For once, I want to enjoy the perks of what Larry Richard and everybody else gets for free. I think I'm entitled to it since you stick it to me all the time. Okay? But Pitt don't see it that way. And I'm not going to the Duke game. I can't anyway. You know why? I have other obligations. That's none of yours or their business. Okay? It's the way I see it tonight. Once again, that's why I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. Okay? So when you ask me again, just rewind to this show or rewind to one of my other shows because I've explained it many times about why I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son. I'm just telling it like I always do, like it is. That's why no one likes me around Pittsburgh. And I don't care because I've got a big fan base now where when I go out, hey, Ralph, the way I see it. And I go, thank you. Okay? Ralph, oh man, I didn't know you were in a wheelchair. I'll give you a hand. I'll give you a hand. Okay? I applaud you. But the people who are downright ignorant, I don't need you. Okay? That's the way I see it as far as that goes. Let's get into some key topics tonight here. We have a little bit of time here. All right? I want to talk about the new city police chief. You know, Mayor Ed Gainey, and he's having these meetings with the community about their input about the police chief. So what do you think everybody's putting out there? Let me ask you this. I haven't been to any of these community meetings, so I don't know. I haven't been, so and to be particularly honest with you, the police chief that I want is a police chief that has some backbone to stand up to the thieves, to the crooks, and to everybody else, and to not tie the hands of his police officers. That's the kind of police chief I want. That when I need the police for something that's very important, that I don't get told call 911. When I see a police officer walking right past my building and someone's parked in front of the driveway of the building and the paramedics are going in for somebody that's having a heart attack and can't park the ambulance and have to come from across the street because they can't find a spot because they're parked in front of the driveway and just walk on by, and I go, aren't you going to give them a ticket? And you know what they said? That's parking's problem. Parking's problem. 2 sergeants. Okay? Then I got a commander over here where I live that has a bad attitude for his zone. He has this piss poor attitude. I know a community activist person, and you know what she told me? She said, Ralphie has a bad attitude. Okay? All right? I want to know is what happened to these 50 police officers that we were supposed to have, and the South Side was supposed to have their own station. Downtown was supposed to have their own station. And the zones, Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3, who have to handle both of these communities, like Zone 3 handles South Side, which is always a mess, you know that, okay? And then you have downtown, which is a mess with this, we'll talk about a little later about this homeless thing. This new place still isn't open. We can talk about that too, all right? And then here we are, we're supposed to have 50 officers downtown, 24/7. Bicycles, horses, scooters, whatever. Walking the beat. Keep it downtown safe. Put Zone 1 over North Side where they're having problems. So they don't have to go downtown and deal with the bums, the homeless, the drug addicts, and all the other people who are down there, thieves. People are so scared now they won't even go downtown. Downtown's a mess. Okay? I've seen it myself. It's a mess. Okay? November 10th, which is a few days away. Okay? The homeless people have to be out of those camps. Good. I'm glad. They're finally doing something about the homelessness. And this new place is not open yet over on First Avenue. And you know, you ever notice a place like that has low rent or a homeless place? They always call it a commons. Like Wood Street Commons, which is a somewhat of a homeless shelter. You can rent a room there cheap, and you pay a couple bucks a day to eat. They said they have food that they serve in like a cafeteria. The only problem is you have dormitory showers and toilets. You don't have privacy of your own. At the time when I was looking into it, which was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, but fortunately, another handicapped person, friend of mine, said, no, don't go down there. It's a dump. They have arguments, fights, people doing things. The people in charge don't care, which of course that's here too and everywhere else. That's my theme for next year. I don't care. Because you don't. Nobody does. This year it was nothing. And we still have 50 more days or whatever of nothing. But next year it's I don't care. Because nobody does. So you live there, and I was told that my friend, she told me, she said, Ralph, don't go there. She lives there. And she said, don't go there. They steal my stuff. They break into my room. They knock on my door. I have to take a shower in a dormitory type shower, like a locker room where there's 100 showers there and you can't cover up. And you or take it in peace and quiet like you like to do. And it's set up, kind of like I guess like a jail or a prison kind of setting with the toilet as well. Okay. So I don't know what the First Avenue Commons has, but from the looks of it, it looks like they have bunk beds in the rooms, and I guess they all share one toilet, and they share the bathroom, and it's just the same setup as the Wood Street Commons. You're supposed to have medical care there and meals and things like that. I don't know how that's going to run. As long as the homeless are off the street, that's all I care about, okay? But the new police chief, what do I want? I want him to have a backbone. I want him to have his officers out on the street talking to people, walking the beat, busting people for peeing on the ground. Get them in jail. Let's go. Clean up downtown, clean up Southside. Okay? And another media colleague of mine said, does anybody have a solution to this problem, the violence in Pittsburgh? And I already told you what it is, if you watch my TV version of this show. And I'll tell you again, National Guard, Gang Task Force, State Police Gang Task Force, FBI Gang Task Force. Call all three agencies, get them in here, sweep the neighborhoods, get the criminals out, put them in jail, prosecute them, and get them out. And guess what, folks? If one of these three people get a hold of you, that's federal charges. So go ahead. Make my day. Make everyone's day in this town. The mayor better make a move soon, other than sitting there going, the people need to get involved in this violence. Ed, I love you to death, buddy. You're my friend. But it's not going to work because people are not going to get involved. That's the whole problem. You have to make a move. You and your chief of staff, Jake Wheatley, and the rest of your staff, you got to make a move. Lee Schmidt, the public safety director, got to make a move. Your police can't do it. They don't have enough. You're already struggling. And now people in the South Hills here, where I live, city of Pittsburgh, have to deal with the salt truck problem again. Why? Because the city couldn't get the salt place or the maintenance garage built fast enough for this area. They're having another problem. They got a mine, a little mini mine or something under the ground near Bousman Street, and they can't get the thing built. Now they tell us that now. It was supposed to be done the end of this year. Tell us that now. Thanks. We're getting ready for winter. We're thinking maybe, oh yeah, we're going to have decent snowplow service this year. Ed Gainey says he's out there renting $4 million worth of equipment for this year. Great. Hope it's better than it was last year because it was a disaster. All right. This will be the second year coming up of Ed Gainey's term as mayor. 1 year has gone by. Downtown's a mess. The police, well, I'm not going to go there. We'll see what the new chief does. City council's getting worthless. And this town's not getting any better. It's getting worse. All right. And you know what's sad? I just saw a thing this week on the internet that said there was 30 Eagle Pay has commented downtown has not been the same for quite a while. Eagle Pay, I want to thank you for tuning in, and you're right. It hasn't. Okay. Bill Peduto, when he was mayor, he promised 50 police downtown and at that small little winky-dinky police station that's never open. He promised he was gonna take care of downtown and South Side, your two biggest problems. Okay. You want to take care of problems? Go to some of these trouble plate buildings and get to the landlord. Get to the agency that runs it, like the agency that runs my building, that don't do anything about anything. We just had a tenant that was evicted. And get this, the tenant's allowed to come back in here and visit. So this tenant decides to shack up with another tenant. They get into this big dispute and argument. Today, and I almost did this because I didn't see the manager today, someone else did. I was going to go and hand her a towel to wipe the egg off her face because I told her, I said, why, let me ask this question, why is an evicted tenant allowed to come back into this building that has been evicted? Now, I'm to the understanding with the rules of this agency through our lease that if you get evicted, you're not allowed on any of the properties. If you get evicted. So this woman's been evicted. She's allowed back on the property that she was evicted from and shack up with somebody else. And I'll lay $1 to a dime that she wasn't visiting here. She was shacking up and living here and not paying rent. Goes on all the time. Okay? That's another version of I don't care. But that's where the city administration needs to start and the police need to start. They need to go after these agencies that own these buildings and say, hey, first of all, you shouldn't have put these people in here. Second of all, you need to get them out of here. And if you don't, then we're coming after you. The landlords of some of these buildings, that where the problems are all the time. All right? They're making things unpleasant for everybody to live in. All right, next. Let's talk about the election. You know, you got the election coming up there. Everybody's bad-mouthing each other. You got them saying, oh, so-and-so's defunding the police and so-and-so's this and so-and-so's that. Well, I saw something today about Oz. I got it in the mail. It was a little leaflet about this big. And it said about how Dr. Oz had a male enhancement pill that he was trying to sell. And it didn't work. Okay? Now, I don't know much about Dr. Oz. I do know who he is. I do know that he had a program. I do know that he used to be on. He was kind of like a Dr. Phil kind of thing, but he did it, you know, he sold stuff and did this and did that. Okay? But I heard 90% of what he sold or what he attempted to sell was a fraud. And it's gotten so bad now that Oprah Winfrey don't want nothing to do with him. She's supporting John Fetterman. And you know what's interesting? I don't care. Here's what bothers me about this election. I don't care how John Fetterman talks, as long as he gets the job done. I don't care if he don't talk at all. And I think John Fetterman will get the job done. But here's the thing that puzzles me about all people in this state and people in general. Why would you vote for a guy who never lived in this state? He moved in with his in-laws to run for this Senate office. That's number one. Number two, he was supported by a guy who we all know caused January 9th or 6th or whatever it was at the Capitol. The January 6th thing. Donald Trump. I heard a story and I didn't think this would ever come to fruition, that Donald Trump was at this rally this weekend that he had out at Arnold Palmer Airport, which I've flown out of. It's a nice place. Okay. Arnold Palmer Airport, he had a rally there. And when he started talking, or when he, I guess maybe, you know how he gets long-winded, you know how Donald Trump can be. Then he starts spewing this rhetoric about how, you know, this, that, and whatever. Okay. I heard people turned around and walked away and left. Isn't that interesting? But the rally was for Mastriano and Oz. Now, Mastriano does have a point in his ad. He really does, about Josh Shapiro. He did sue businesses because they didn't follow COVID laws and shut them down. I thought that was wrong. I think that's wrong. And he did make school students and people wear masks, and he stuck up with Rachel Levine and the dictator Wolf, and went ahead and stuck along with them and went ahead and did this. Yes, he did. Mastriano, I would have voted for you. But you were involved in January 6th. Why? Because Donald Trump told you to. And I'm going to use this again to everybody out here for this election. If Donald Trump was to tell you tomorrow to go jump off a bridge, you're going to jump off a bridge? Yeah. Because Donald Trump told you to. Just like during COVID. If Dictator Wolf told you to jump off a bridge, you would. If Rachel Levine, you would. Okay? Once again, I have nothing against Donald Trump. To me, he was a reasonable president. I didn't like when you act like a third grader. And then instead of taking your ball and going home because you knew you lost the election after you were told by advisors, you were told by people in your cabinet that you lost the election, and then you decide to start agitating people to go and do what they were doing at the Capitol. You went after Nancy Pelosi, senators. You went after your own people, your own Republican people. And then you left Mike Pence to hang. Your vice president, that's even the worst of it all. Why? Because poor Donald Trump was angry because he didn't win. And we're going to continue to vote and listen to this man. If Donald Trump was to come and knock on my door right now and say to me, with a raincoat on, dripping wet, say it's raining outside, I have to look outside because I don't believe him. But you do. There are people out here who worship this guy so bad that they think he's going to win presidency. And you know what scares me? I think he is. Because we've got these idiot people out here that believe in this guy. What, you don't believe about the fact that he tried to take a coup of the country? That he went into the Capitol building of the United States of America and tried to do bodily harm to the elected president and then your own vice president? But we're going to vote for this guy. No, it's great. He's running for president in 2024. Let's go ahead and vote for him. My 401k was great. You talk about freedoms. You talk about freedoms. And I still have not heard from anybody, and this is what bothers me. I have not heard from one person as to what kind of personal freedoms have been taken away from you that would make you want to go vote for this guy. Explain that to me. I don't have an answer because you don't give me them. You don't give me the answer. You don't give me the answer as to what you're going to do if if the police are defunded. I haven't gotten an answer from anybody. I even went straight to Summer Lee's people and couldn't get an answer because I hear she wants to defund police. Okay? I will not vote for anyone who's endorsed by a guy who tried to take my country. And you talk about personal freedoms, all you who vote for this guy, who believe in this man. You talk about personal freedoms. You have freedoms. They're not going nowhere. They're not going to touch the Constitution. You can still carry a firearm. What are you upset about? Just do it responsible. All right? What are you concerned about? What personal freedoms are they taking from you? You can go out and get a job. You can go out and go just about anywhere you want. You could say almost anything. Almost. Okay. We really kind of don't live in a democracy. Okay. I will agree to that. My personal freedoms are not affected by anything here. Okay? And I'll be glad when this election's over because I don't have to see no more of these ads. Not at all. All right? None. None whatsoever. All right. That is the way I see it, and I approve this show. All right. Let's get into some quick topics here before we go. Governor Wolf signs a bill. All right. Making switchblades legal. That's great. Good. Got to defend yourself because there's not enough police to do it. So good. I'm glad he made switchblades legal. Okay? Got to do something. I don't have a problem for anyone defending themselves if they legally have to. If I'm being bothered and I defend myself, that's self-defense. And I think more people need to do that. Why? Because our police can't protect us. Because we have people out here who want to defund the police and can't give us an answer as to what they're going to do if they do decide to defund the police. We got politicians out here that stick their foot in their mouth all the time. Okay? And we're worried about because John Fetterman can't talk. He should stay at home and rehab. No. John Fetterman, I don't care if he can't talk. He's the man. And if you want somebody that comes from another state to come in here and try to tell everybody else how things are done, that's ripped people off over the years and is a fraud and does not get supported at all by any of his peers, then you have a problem. A big problem. Okay? And this is what the problem is. Nobody sees none of this. I do, because I'm not blind by it. Next. State passes a bill stating that you do not have to pay tolls, or you have to pay tolls to the state, which means, and I spoke about this earlier, and you can cry like a baby all you want, you can call me every name in the book, I don't care. Pay your tolls. They're going to start taking the registration of your car. That's the new legislation, and it's about to be passed. And I hope it happens. All right? Oh, I know. The Turnpike Commission keeps raising prices. Then don't use the Turnpike. They keep raising prices. Don't use Turnpike. Keep raising prices. Don't use Turnpike. But you decide to use it, and then you go and you decide you're not going to pay. That's theft. So, because you want to be a thief, then there's hundreds of thousands of thieves that haven't paid their bill. Oh, my dog ate it. Yeah. Okay? My dog ate it. All right? Like, I really believe that excuse. All right, next. New grocery store opening in Millville. Congratulations to Millville. I'm happy that they're getting themselves a store. The last market that was actually in downtown Millville supermarket was Platts. I think it was Platts. And when you went in there, you could take your finger and write your name on the dust in there. Nobody went in it. But now we got all these millennials and we got all these new people living in Millville. Millville's a cleaner, nicer community now. They want a store. They have a Family Dollar there in the downtown area. I've been through there here and there. Okay. But it's great that they're going to get a supermarket. That's super duper for Millville. And that's the way I see it tonight. Next, Giant Eagle closed on Thanksgiving for the first time in the history of the company. Thanksgiving, they're going to be closed again. I think they were closed last year, too. I know Walmart was. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, Wolf signs a bill, our dictator here. But he's been doing some good things. I will give him credit for that on his way out. On his way out. Okay? All right, he signs a bill for $2 million to give to natural gas companies. Great. I'm for fracking. Makes money. It's not really that bad. They've tested the waters everywhere that they've done it, and you got these people out here complaining, and I know some of them have had some health problems, and there have been some problems in some places, and there's a big debate about this, but don't shut down something that was really creating jobs and creating economic viable things for people, because I know some people who need that, and it has to do with religion. They need it. Because you know what it'll do? It'll help your child. I know a camp that relies on this. And if they don't have it, they don't function. You catch what I'm getting at? So the next time you think about fracking, think about what I just said. Next. All right. Gretzler's on Babcock Boulevard closing up. Now, I did some checking on this. I thought Gretzler's was closing up because, once again, you have family, just like Donatelli's in Bloomfield, 90 years. Family wouldn't help them, couldn't get any help, couldn't get people to work. You have people that have been in business 6, 7, 10 generations. And again, like I said, they've been doing it for 20, 30 years. They don't want to be in there doing it all over again. They want to rest. They want to relax. They want to enjoy their lives. Can't get nobody to work. Can't even get family to help. But Gretzler sold to Mike and Tony's Gyros. So Mike and Tony's will be opening up a new location on Babcock Boulevard where the old Gretzler's was. Gretzler's has some good food there, by the way. Sad note tonight, unfortunately, very sad. Judge David Cashman passed away, 76 years old last night. Sad to hear about that. Judge Cashman was a good judge. So sad to hear what happened to him. And tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about the laziness thing. Now, company, Aldi. Well, Aldi now has decided to go all self-serve and have one cashier now. You know why? They can't find help. But they're at fault too, because they pay their employees pretty good to be a cashier. Most cashiers, they make a pretty decent buck these days, but they have to stand all day. Aldi, you get to sit and be a cashier. And now Walmart's doing it. Okay? I've seen some of them sitting in chairs. They're doing it now. Okay? But Aldi, they want you to clean toilets. They want you to stock shelves. They want you to, clean floors with a toothbrush, whatever. And that's why they can't get help. So, as I said before, last week, I explained to you about how employers are, jerking people around. And we're back to this now. But Aldi's at fault too. And remember this, it always takes two to tango. Two, not one, two. An employer-employee is like a relationship. The employee got to carry their weight, and the employer has to carry their weight. Okay? And it's not working like that. Everybody wants to be greedy. The employer wants all the money, and the employee wants to make all the money. Can't work that way. Doesn't work that way. No, it don't. Figure that out, everybody, because it's not viable. All right? And I've talked about greed on this program too. I did a segment on greed one night, a show on greed. Everybody wants an inch. Everybody You give somebody an inch and they want a mile. Happens all the time. Been there and done that. I gave people an inch, they want a mile. I give people a buck, they want 5. Then they want 10. Then they want 20. Then they want 50. Then they want 100. Why do you think I don't loan money out to people? You understand what I'm saying? This is where we are. This is our society as we know it. And tonight, as always, that is the way I see it. Don't forget to check PCTV's Facebook page for my TV version of The Way I See It. Also, don't forget to check their listings on Comcast and Verizon Cable. Comcast 21, Verizon 47. Tomorrow night, 8:30. Sports Corner with myself, Smoking Jim Fraser. Our special guest, Matt Vensel. He's going to talk to us about this collapse of the Penguins. Fortunately, Pitt won this week. We'll talk about that. The Steelers game coming up this Sunday. The Claypool trade. Frank Reich getting fired. There's a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow night with myself and Smoking Jim Fraser. Best sports corner, best sports talk show on a Tuesday night is right here with Sports Corner live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Wednesday night, don't forget we have at 7:30 p.m. we have the Talkin' Wrestling show coming up on Wednesday night. That's myself and Smoking Jim Fraser. We're going to break down Crown Jewel, and we're also going to talk about Raw, and we're going to talk about the SmackDown coming up, AEW, NWA news. I have a bunch of wrestling stuff. I am the only local Pittsburgh person that puts a serious talk show together about wrestling. Nobody else does it. I dedicate a full half. And Thursday night, Wrestle Talk, national talk show that I talk wrestling from here in Pittsburgh, PA. And we have a lot of listeners from Pittsburgh that listen in. And I like that. I congratulate and I thank you for being there. Thursday night, 8 p.m., 347-205-9631. Myself, Smoking Jim Fraser, and Mark Mancini, Blog Talk Radio, Wrestle Talk. And we also talk a little bit of sports there as well. I am Ralph Williams. This has been The Way I See It. See you next time, next Monday night, 7 p.m., always right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I am the Forgotten Son. Have a good night, and please be safe.